The mechanic agreed, not knowing she was a millionaire CEO. It was a hot summer afternoon in Brooklyn. The air was thick with the sounds of drills, screeching tires, and the sharp, unmistakable scent of motor oil. Inside a modest auto repair shop tucked between crumbling buildings, Alex, 30, was hunched beneath a rusty pickup truck, grease staining his arms and gray t-shirt. His focus never wavered. Every bolt, every part, had meaning. He worked hard, every dollar going toward his mother's heart surgery. Despite his remarkable skills, his applications to top car companies had gone unanswered. The sharp squeal of tires outside pulled his attention. A sleek black Range Rover rolled up and stopped just short of the open garage. The front tire was flat, completely blown. The vehicle, pristine and expensive, looked misplaced on this block. From the driver's side stepped a woman. Tall, poised, her wavy blonde hair caught the sunlight, and her white blouse and fitted red pencil skirt made her look like she'd stepped off the cover of a fashion magazine. She moved confidently but without arrogance. There was something about her, elegance without the flash. Alex stood up, wiped his hands on a rag, and gave her a nod. "Pull it in," he called out. She hesitated slightly, then did as he said. As she stepped out again, he noticed her wince, just a flicker of discomfort on her face. Her heels were clearly punishing her feet, though she said nothing. Alex didn't comment. Instead, he disappeared inside and returned moments later with a battered plastic chair and a pair of oversized flip-flops. "You don't have to impress anyone here," he said simply, placing them in front of her without looking directly at her. She blinked, surprised. No one had ever done something like that. Not in the business world, not at galas, not even among friends. She stared at the chair and shoes, then back at Alex, who was already back under the truck. No flattery, no small talk, just a simple act of thoughtfulness. While working, Alex noticed something unusual. The valve on the damaged tire wasn't standard. He pulled himself out and looked at her. "Who worked on this last?" he asked, pointing to the wheel. "They used the wrong part. This thing blows on the highway. It's not just a flat, it's a crash, especially if there's kids in the back." Harper's eyebrows lifted. She hadn't expected a lecture, let alone one from a stranger with grease on his face. But he wasn't trying to show off. He was genuinely concerned. She watched him, quietly, as he knelt down and finished the repair. There was something steady about him, something unshaped by image or pretense. For the first time in months, she felt herself exhale. When he was done, Alex stood and dusted off his hands. She didn't leave right away. "You're good at this," she said, almost more to herself. He gave a shrug. "Been doing it long enough." She looked at him for a long moment. Then, unexpectedly, she asked, "Will you be my date for the weekend?" Alex blinked. "What?" She smiled, but it was small, nervous. "I'll pay you double what you make here. You just need to pretend to be my boyfriend. For 2 days." He stared at her, unsure whether to laugh or call it a prank. "You serious?" Harper let out a breath. "I have a formal event in the Hamptons. It's complicated. I need someone real beside me, someone who doesn't belong to that world. And you seem real." Alex looked down at his work boots, then back at her. His mind raced. The hospital bills, his mom's prescriptions. "You mean, just the weekend? No weird stuff?" he asked. "I don't have a tux." Harper's smile widened just a little. "Just be yourself. I'll take care of the rest." Alex hesitated for a beat, watching her. Her eyes weren't calculating. They were honest. It was crazy, and yet, somehow, it made sense. "Deal," he said. She exhaled like she'd been holding her breath the whole time. As he turned back to his tools, Harper lingered for a moment, quietly watching him. Neither of them knew it yet, but what began with a flat tire and a wild request was about to shift both of their lives forever. The next morning, Harper picked up Alex from the small garage in Brooklyn. The drive to Manhattan was quiet, filled with unspoken thoughts, but not uncomfortable. Harper seemed focused, mentally sorting through plans for the weekend. Alex sat in silence, still unsure why he'd agreed to this strange arrangement, though helping his mom justified it. They stopped outside a sleek boutique. Inside, everything gleamed. Harper walked in like she belonged. The staff greeted her with familiarity. Then their eyes landed on Alex, assessing him with polite curiosity. "Let's make you look like $1,000,000, Harper said with a small smirk, already scanning racks of tailored suits. Alex followed reluctantly, his scuffed boots and worn jeans feeling wildly out of place. Still, he stayed quiet. He was in too deep to back out now. She handed him a navy suit and motioned toward the fitting room. "Try this." She hovered close while he changed, pulling shirts from racks, checking sizes with ease. "You'll want this one for the dinner," she said, holding up a crisp white shirt. When Alex stepped out in the suit, Harper studied him, then frowned. Something's off. She stepped forward and unbuttoned his collar. "Hold still." Her fingers moved carefully, looping a tie into a clean knot. As she leaned in, their proximity tightened. Her fingers brushed his collarbone. She hesitated. "There," she said softly, stepping back. Her voice was a little shaky. Alex noticed. She wasn't faking it. But he didn't call it out. Not yet. "You okay?" he asked. "I'm fine," she replied quickly, adjusting his cuffs. "You look better than I expected." He raised an eyebrow. Compliment or insult? She laughed. Both. They shared a smile. Something eased between them. Outside, they walked through the neighborhood, passing cafes and boutiques. Harper began to open up, though carefully. She mentioned long hours, meetings, travel, nothing too revealing. Alex didn't push. He liked that she wasn't trying to impress him. They paused outside a cafe, watching the crowd. "This is nice," she said, glancing over. "I'm not used to this part of town," Alex replied. "You seem like someone who belongs wherever he stands." He smirked. "That your way of saying I fake it well?" "No," she said, more seriously. "You're steady, like the world could fall apart, and you'd still be fixing someone's engine." He shrugged. "Someone's got to do it." They kept walking. "You're the first person I've met in a long time who doesn't care about all this. Status, image," she said. "Should I? I don't know. Most people do." He said nothing, but his silence seemed to comfort her. They passed a florist. Harper paused, eyeing a bunch of peonies. "You see me as just me," she said softly. "Shouldn't I? I'm not used to it." Alex looked at her. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "Vulnerable, unpolished, real. You talk like people only see your job," he said. "That's what happens when your title enters the room before you do." Sounds exhausting. It is. They kept walking. "You're not impressed by the car, the suits, the stores," she said after a while. "That makes you the most refreshing person I've met in years." Alex gave a small grin. "Maybe you need new people." "Maybe I do," she said, then looked over. "But I'm glad I found you." They stopped at a crosswalk. Harper turned to him. "You've made me feel like I'm just Harper, not the CEO, not the label, just a woman." Alex didn't smile. He looked her straight in the eyes. "That's the only version I see." The evening at the Hamptons mansion was everything Alex had imagined. Glamorous, intimidating, overwhelming. The driveway sparkled with luxury cars, and the estate shimmered under strings of lights. Laughter echoed, champagne flowed, and the air buzzed with polished conversation. Harper, in a sleek navy dress, walked in like she belonged. She greeted guests confidently, exchanging handshakes and warm smiles. She wasn't flashy, but she stood out, for her presence more than her beauty. Alex, meanwhile, felt like an outsider. The tuxedos, designer gowns, the polished perfection. It was another world. His outfit, though neat, felt second-hand in comparison. People looked at him, not unkindly, but with curiosity. Then came the cameras, flashes, eyes following him. Alex shifted uneasily. "You okay?" Harper asked quietly. Not used to being the headline, he muttered. She gave a soft smile. Ignore them, they'll get bored. But they didn't. As they moved through the crowd, Harper introduced him as someone special. Not for a job or title, just for being him. It made his chest ache. Then a man in a tailored suit approached. Harper, has the new CEO of Orion Automotives arrived yet? I hear he's doing wonders. Alex froze. The man looked directly at him. Other guests turned. Cameras clicked again. I work in the technical side, Alex stammered. Engineering, tech stuff. His voice cracked. Confidence crumbled. He felt small under the weight of their stares. Then, Harper's hand slipped into his. Warm, steady. She stepped forward, voice calm. Actually, I don't really care what he does for a living, she said, eyes sweeping the crowd. He's an incredible human being. That's what matters. The room quieted. I didn't fall for a job title or resume, she continued. I fell for someone kind, honest, and real. I hope we can stop measuring people by LinkedIn profiles. A few murmurs passed through the group. Surprise. Maybe respect. Turning to Alex, she added gently, He doesn't need to prove anything to me. He already has. Alex stared at her, stunned. She hadn't made excuses. She had stood by him, without shame, without hesitation. And suddenly, the cameras didn't matter anymore. She gave his hand a reassuring squeeze. No words, just the quiet message. I choose you. He took a breath. Steady now. Not because he fit in, but because Harper made him feel like he didn't have to. Harper smiled at the others. Now, let's talk about something more interesting, shall we? The conversation shifted. The tension faded. But for Alex, something had changed. She hadn't just brought him here. She had claimed him. Boldly, openly. Leaning closer, he whispered, You didn't have to do that. I know, she said, but I wanted to. He looked at her, something loosening in his chest. No one's ever done that for me. Her eyes twinkled. Get used to it. That night, something shifted. Alex no longer felt like a hired placeholder. He wasn't just the guy pretending to belong. He was her choice, and she had said so in front of everyone. They spent the rest of the evening mingling side by side. He wasn't nervous now. Not because he belonged in that world, but because she'd shown him he didn't have to. Later, under the glow of garden lights, Alex paused outside. You meant all of that? He asked. Harper turned to him. Every word. I'm not rich, he said quietly. She smiled. I have enough for both of us. He chuckled. I'm being serious. So am I, she replied. I didn't fall in love with your wallet. I fell in love with your heart. Alex exhaled, letting her words settle. In a place built on appearances, she'd made him feel real, and that was everything. The night at the mansion was a blur of elegance and overwhelming luxury. Guests mingled beneath chandeliers as champagne flutes clinked and laughter echoed. Alex stood near the edge of the room, feeling like a fish out of water. The perfectly tailored suits, glittering gowns, and effortless conversations all belonged to a world far from his own. Harper, however, moved through it like she was born there. Dressed in a sleek navy gown, she greeted people with grace and quiet authority. She wasn't flashy, but she commanded attention. Confidence radiated from her. Alex felt painfully out of place. His clean suit didn't hide the fact that he didn't belong. The stares weren't hostile, just curious, measuring. The camera flashes didn't help. He was too aware of how different he was. Still, Harper stayed close, introducing him not as a date or charity case, but as someone special. Not for his job or pedigree, just for who he was. It touched him more than he expected. But then a man in a sharp suit approached, smiling warmly at Harper. Has the new CEO of Orion Automotives arrived yet? He asked. I hear he's done an excellent job with the restructuring. Very impressive. Alex froze. The man glanced at him, clearly expecting confirmation. Eyes turned. Cameras clicked again. The pressure hit hard. Alex's mouth went dry. I work in the technical field, Engineering, he mumbled, trying to sound confident. The moment grew heavy. A flicker of awkwardness passed through the group. But then, her hand. Harper took his gently and stepped slightly in front of him. "Actually," she said, her voice clear, "I don't care what his job title is. He's kind, honest, and real. That's what matters to me." A few people raised their eyebrows, surprised. "I didn't fall for his income or status," she continued. "I fell for someone who listens, who sees people, who reminds me who I really am. That's more valuable than any title." She turned toward Alex, her expression soft. "He doesn't need to impress anyone. He already impresses me." The tension shifted. Some nodded, others smiled. The moment passed, but something had changed. Alex exhaled. He wasn't sure how she did it, but in one sentence, she'd silenced the doubts. Not just the room's, but his own. She wasn't pretending. She meant every word. He gave her hand a small squeeze. She looked over, smiling gently, and resumed the conversation like nothing happened. But Alex felt it. Something had cracked open between them. For the rest of the night, she mingled, and Alex hung back, observing her from a distance. He admired her strength, her clarity. She had stood up for him, not out of pity, but pride. And that meant everything. But that admiration made something else rise. Uncertainty. She belonged here. This was her world, full of industry titans, polished charm, and lifelong connections. He was a mechanic from Brooklyn, hardworking, sure, but not polished, not powerful. He wasn't angry, just unsure. Unsure of how to be part of this without losing who he was. As the evening wore on, the noise felt heavier. The laughter, the flashing cameras, the polished smiles. He felt himself slowly pulling away. Without a word, he stepped toward the edge of the gathering. No dramatic exit, no goodbye, just quiet footsteps out into the night. The mansion doors closed behind him. The air outside was cold, sharp, and real. He walked slowly down the driveway, each step grounding him. He wasn't leaving Harper, not truly. But he was walking away from a version of himself that didn't fit. He needed time, not to forget her, but to find the version of himself that could stand beside her, not as a shadow or a stand-in, but as an equal. Whatever came next, he knew one thing. He had to come back as himself, not as someone pretending to be enough. And maybe, just maybe, she'd still be there when he did. Alex stood by the counter of the garage, wiping down a car engine. His hands moved from habit, but his thoughts were elsewhere. The past few days looped endlessly. Harper at the Hamptons, how she defended him, how confidently she fit into a world he didn't. Their connection felt real, but the gap between their lives seemed impossible to bridge. His phone buzzed. Harper. He stared at the screen before finally answering. "Hello? Alex." Her voice came through, soft and unsure. "I'm outside." He blinked. "Outside where?" "At the garage." He hesitated, then stepped outside into the afternoon light. Harper stood near the curb beside her black car, wearing jeans, a simple jacket, her hair pulled back. No crowd, no press, just her. She looked different, real. She approached with a large box in her arms. "I brought you something." Alex raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" "A gift," she said, setting the box down. "It's an advanced repair machine. I figured you wouldn't get it yourself, and I wanted to help." He frowned. "Harper, I didn't ask for anything." "I know," she replied quietly. "But I wanted to. Not as the CEO. Just me. I see how hard you work, how much you give. Let me give something back." Alex looked at her, then at the box. It wasn't about tools. It was about her seeing him and wanting to be part of his life. "Thank you," he said, unsure of anything else. She smiled, but it faded quickly. "That weekend, I didn't expect it to feel so real. I thought I could control it, like I always do. But then, you weren't like the others." He said nothing, letting her speak. "I've spent years being Harper Lane, the CEO, the one in charge. But with you, I didn't have to be. That scared me." She glanced down, voice soft. You didn't care about money or image. You just saw me. And no one does that. Alex leaned back against the counter. She was different now, unguarded. I don't want to be someone you feel sorry for, he said. And I don't want gifts out of guilt. This isn't guilt, she said. It's trust. And maybe hope. He nodded slowly. When I left that night, I wasn't mad. I was just overwhelmed. Everyone there looked perfect. I don't know how to wear masks. Harper took a step closer. Neither do I. I've just had more practice. A quiet beat passed. I thought I had to build walls to survive in that life, she said. But then you came along and knocked some of them down without even trying. Alex gave her a faint smile. Sorry. Don't be, she replied. You reminded me what it feels like to be real. He looked at her, really looked. She wasn't just a CEO or a title. She was someone trying, like him. You're not just the CEO to me, Harper, he said. You never were. Relief passed through her face. Good, because I don't want to be. They stood in silence for a moment, the noise of the city distant. You don't have to decide anything now, she added. I just needed you to see me, the real me. Alex nodded. I think I do, and maybe I'm seeing myself more clearly too. She reached out, her fingers gently brushing his arm. One step at a time? One step, he replied. And in that moment, the space between their worlds didn't feel so far after all. After their last meeting, Alex couldn't shake the feeling swirling inside him. The way Harper had opened up, the vulnerability in her voice, it stayed with him. And yet, the more he thought about it, the more confused he felt. Was he just a temporary escape for her? A novelty? Or was this real? He didn't belong in her world. CEOs, luxury cars, polished meetings. It was everything he wasn't. His life was oil-stained shirts, late nights, and hospital bills for his mom. She was elegance. He was survival. The contrast was too much. So he shut down. No calls, no replies to her messages, just silence. He threw himself into work, burying his thoughts under engines and grease. It was safer than facing the truth, that he didn't know how to be part of her world without losing himself. But Harper didn't disappear. A few days later, rain poured from a dark sky. Alex heard the hum of a familiar engine outside the garage. He stepped out from under the hood, rag in hand, and saw her car. She got out, no umbrella, rain soaking through her coat. Her hair clung to her face, but she didn't care. In her hand was a small white envelope. She didn't speak, she just handed it to him. He took it, brows furrowed, and opened it slowly. Inside, a single line in her handwriting. Only trust can bridge the gap between us. Don't leave me, and don't leave yourself. He looked up, stunned into silence. Harper finally spoke. I'm not here to beg. I just wanted you to know I meant what I said. Her voice was calm, not grand, not rehearsed, just honest. He started, but the words stuck. I don't know how to do this. You don't have to, she replied gently. I'm not asking you to change, or to step into my world. I want to be part of yours, the real one. Alex glanced away, rain dripping off the edge of the roof. People like you don't stay. You visit, then you leave. You go back to your world. I'm not visiting, Harper said, stepping closer. I've lived in a world that looks perfect but feels empty. When I'm with you, I feel like myself. I don't want to lose that. Alex took a breath, then said, I'm scared. Not of you, of what this could mean. I'm not enough for your world. I don't want my world, she said quietly. I want ours, whatever it looks like. Her voice cracked slightly. You don't see yourself the way I do. You're grounded, kind, and real. That means more to me than anything I've ever known. He looked at her. Rain clung to her lashes. Her coat was soaked, but she didn't flinch. I'm not great at trust, he said, especially when it feels like everything's on the line. I know, she whispered. That's why I'm here, Not to convince you. Just to remind you, we don't need all the answers. We just need to start. The storm outside couldn't match the one inside him. But her presence, steady, patient, cut through it. I'm not sure I'm ready, he admitted. But I don't want to keep running. She stepped forward, took his hand. Then don't, she said. Just stay. Try. He stared at their joined hands, then at her eyes, and something softened inside him. The walls weren't gone, but maybe they didn't need to be as high. Okay, he said at last, but we do this my way. No suits, no scripts, no pretending. Harper smiled, not the smile of someone who'd won, but of someone who'd been understood. No pretending, she echoed. They stood there in the rain, no longer CEO and mechanic, no longer two people from opposite worlds. Just two people willing to meet in the middle. And maybe that was enough. Alex had made up his mind. He couldn't keep running from what was real, what he felt for Harper. It wasn't about her wealth or success. It was about the way she made him feel seen and accepted. He wasn't just her pretend boyfriend anymore. He was something more. For the first time, he felt like he could be enough. That afternoon, he found himself standing outside a modest community center in a neighborhood that had seen better days. Harper was there, volunteering at a charity event for underprivileged children. No boardrooms, no fancy dresses, just Harper, handing out supplies and laughing with the kids. When she spotted him, her face lit up. She crossed the yard quickly, her smile warm as always. "Alex," she said, almost breathless, "you came." "I couldn't stay away," he replied, still nervous. "I've been thinking. About us. About what you said. No pretending." She reached for his hand, squeezing gently. "Thank you for coming. This is real, Alex. With you, I feel more like myself than I ever have." He nodded. "Me too." Later, during the event, Harper stepped up to speak. The crowd quieted. "I've spent most of my life being seen for my title, not who I am," she began. "People talk to me because of what I can offer. But Alex, he's different. He never asked for anything. He just treated me like a person. And because of that, he reminded me of something I forgot. Our value isn't measured by our status, but by how we love, how we care, and how we show up." She paused, her gaze drifting toward Alex. "I love him," she said simply. "Not because of his resume. I love him because he sees me. Not as a CEO, just as Harper." The room was silent. Alex felt everyone's eyes on him, and for a moment, he panicked. But something inside him shifted. He stood up. "I'm not a rich guy," he said, his voice clear. "I don't have much, but growing up, my mom taught me something. Love isn't about what you have, it's about who you are." He looked around at the kids, the volunteers, the donors. "I've always been surrounded by people who loved me, even when I had nothing to offer. That's the kind of love that matters. That's what I see in Harper." There was a quiet murmur of agreement. A few people nodded, others smiled. "She's more than what people say she is. She's someone who gives a damn, someone who sees people. And she saw me, when I didn't even see myself." Harper was already walking toward him as he finished. She reached for his hand, lacing their fingers together. The crowd applauded, not loud, but genuine. In that moment, there were no titles, no expectations, no difference in status, just two people who had found something real in each other. Later that evening, as the event wound down, Alex and Harper walked side by side outside the center. The air was cool, quiet. The city buzzed in the distance, but it felt far away. Alex looked at her. "You know, I never thought I'd be standing in front of people talking about love." "You did great," Harper said, bumping his shoulder with hers. "I meant what I said," he added. "All of it." "I know," she whispered, stopping to face him. "So did I." He looked at her for a long moment before speaking again. This feels right. Not just today. Us." She smiled. "That's because it is." As they continued walking hand in hand, Alex no longer felt like an outsider. He wasn't part of Harper's world, or she of his. They had created their own, one built not on power or wealth, but trust, kindness, and honesty. And as they disappeared down the street together, he realized something he had never dared to believe before. You don't have to be extraordinary to deserve love. You just have to be real. It had been 3 months since that night at the charity event. The weekend arrangement that once started with an awkward proposal and a busted tire had become something real, something lasting. Harper stepped away from Orion, not in scandal, not in haste, but in peace. She passed the reins to a trusted partner, choosing instead to dedicate her time and energy to causes that stirred her heart more than board meetings ever had. Community kitchens, education funds, sustainability programs. She was everywhere, but in a different way now. Quietly, genuinely. Alex, on the other hand, finally opened something he had dreamed about for years, a small auto repair training center for underprivileged youth in Brooklyn. Funded in part by Harper's connections, yes, but run with his hands, his knowledge, and his heart. The shop buzzed with the energy of teenagers learning skills they never thought they'd have, finding purpose where there had been none. Their days were no longer filled with pretense. There were no tuxedos, no carefully rehearsed lines. Just oil-stained gloves, laughter over takeout dinners, and shared silences that said more than words ever could. One crisp evening, as the city hummed softly in the distance, Harper and Alex walked together through a quiet street lined with old street lamps. The light bathed the pavement in a warm amber hue, casting soft glows on their faces. Harper wore a simple sweater, her hair tied up messily, no heels, no makeup, just her. The woman Alex had come to love, not for the fortune she once held, but for the grace and fire in her. They stopped at a corner where the street opened to a small park. The leaves rustled gently overhead. Alex turned to her, taking her hand. "So," he said, his voice low and playful, "is this it? Are we really starting now?" Harper smiled, fingers curling around his. "Yes," she whispered. "No pretending anymore. We've got everything we need." Alex looked down at her, his heart full. He didn't need anyone to tell him this was right. This was home. They stood like that for a moment, still, content, before continuing their walk. Their footsteps, slow, in rhythm, no rush, no script, just the simple beauty of being together. From afar, the scene looked almost like a painting, two silhouettes under the soft glow of streetlights, walking hand in hand, wrapped in quiet conversation and laughter. No headlines, no cameras, just love. The city faded behind them as the camera pulled back, the light dimming softly around them like the final notes of a song well sung. And in that moment, it was clear. This wasn't just the end of a story. It was the beginning of the one they were finally ready to write together. And so, Alex and Harper's journey of authenticity and love continued, their lives no longer defined by titles or expectations, but by the connection they shared. It's a reminder that sometimes true happiness lies in letting go of the masks we wear and embracing the people we truly are, without fear, without pretenses. If you've enjoyed their story, don't forget to subscribe to Soul-Stirring Stories for more tales of love, growth, and the beauty of being real. Hit the hype button to support the channel and stay tuned for more stories that will touch your heart and leave you inspired. Thank you for being part of this journey. Until next time, keep believing in the power of true connection.